Hey guys, it's Coach Malcolm. Today I'm going to be doing just a bit of a different video. So what we're going to be doing today is I have two puzzles set up, and all I have done is set them up, right? I saw the positions, but I don't know the answers. I'm going to be solving through them, and what they are is they're called compositions. So you'll notice this isn't a very likely position to happen in a game, right? It's white to move and checkmate in two, and a composition means it is made by usually a grandmaster, but just highly skilled players, and they're meant to be difficult. They're meant to be tricky, and this would not happen in a game. Pretty much, I would be incredibly shocked if this happened in a game, but it's just a puzzle and it's used for practice. So it's a composition. Both these positions are mate in twos for white. I promise, cross my heart, have not seen the answers, have not even really analyzed the positions, have only just set them up. So what I'm going to be doing is talking through my sort of train of thought. You guys can follow that. You can pause if you want to sort of take your own time to go through it. Whatever it may be. If you want to just follow along with me, that is perfectly fine. But let's just get into the puzzle. So first, I'm just going to look at these squares around the king, right? It looks like he has no squares whatsoever. The rook is covering all of these squares. The pawn covers g4. The knight covers g5. The pawn on f5 is guarded by the knight, right? All these squares are covered around the king. Every single one except for the one that he is on, right? Except for f4. So if I could just have a check right now, boom, and not lose any of my covering pieces, it would be checkmate. But the puzzle would be too easy for that. I could set up my checkmate. It wouldn't even be checkmate over there. The knight could block. Anyways, let's get back on track. So we need to find our mate in two. One thing I noticed is that black can try and sometimes you have to play devil's advocate when thinking about these mate in twos. They could try and make a check by moving this knight at one point, creating a check on this king on a6, and then I would have to have my next move be checkmate, which could be difficult if I'm in check. So what exactly am I thinking? I'm going to start off by looking at some forcing moves. So we have something like rook f3 would check that king. His only square, it would be a double check, right, with the queen on c1 as well. His only square would be to go king e5, and then it looks like, ooh, okay, so here, king e5, it looks like knight f7 would almost be checkmate, but the king can, oh, no, sorry, the king can go to e4 or to d5. So it's close, but this rook cuts off these escape squares right there, unfortunately. So rook f3, is there anything after king e5? Maybe if I played queen f4 check, I believe that would be checkmate. Nope, because they still have this very annoying d5 escape square right there because of the bishop being covered up when my rook moves to f3. All right, so let's try something else. Maybe rook e4 check, right? Again, another double check with the rook, and then the queen on c1. It looks like the king's only move in that position would be king to g3. And then I believe queen f4 should be checkmate there. Am I wrong? King's only move is g3, queen f4, checkmate? No, I am completely wrong. The bishop is left unguarded. Okay, sometimes that happens in analysis, guys. All right, so rook e4, king g3, queen f4 leaves the bishop unguarded, so that's unfortunate. Is there anything else there? Rook e4, king g3, I don't believe I have a checkmate in one in that position. Now let's look at these pieces. If black's pieces are forced to move, right? If this knight is forced to move, well, it will put me in check, and I don't think I have one of those crazy mates where you get out of check and do checkmate at the same time. And I definitely can't take on c4 or something because then after bishop takes c4, there's no check in. Ooh, I could actually have something because after knight takes c4, that could possibly be a checkmate. It wouldn't in this case. Rook takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight is getting out of check and putting in check at the same time, but black has this escape square right here. But that's something to consider, the existence of blocking a check and making a check at the exact same time. But it looks like if I ever want to move that knight, I'm gonna have to make f5 a guarded square, right? All right, so let us think. How can I guard f5? Or maybe I'm just completely off track. That is very likely as well. Let's be completely honest. Okay, anything with this rook move is a double check, but it may very well be that the first move is not a checking move. Sometimes these composition puzzles sort of like to operate that way, where the first move is not a check, and you kind of need to just make a very silently move, but it's zugzwang, where no matter what, they're going to get checkmated next move. So let's say, look, if I have just checkmate in one threats. I don't believe I do. There's no checkmate in one, that a piece guards. So, yeah, I don't believe there's a checkmate in one that just one piece will guard right away. If I'm thinking about moving this knight, right? If I move that knight, let's just say I do a move like knight takes c4, putting that king in check. His only move is going to be king takes f5. In that position, I don't have a lot of squares really covered, right? So if I take these squares are covered. Well, I actually have a solid amount because the rook is opened up. Rook has, oops, that's not the variation we want. Knight takes, king up. I have all these squares covered, but do I have a mate in one? I doubt it, right? Because anything like this, the bishop will block. A move like bishop e4, this king has e6, very unfortunately. And then the rest of the checks will just cover up squares. I definitely don't want to go back. Alright, let's look for a different idea. Let's delete what we have so far. Sorry guys, these are difficult puzzles, you can blame me, but I am, doing my best, working through them the best that we possibly can. Alright, what if we try to move like, say, moving this knight in, right? Trying to take squares away. Let's see. We're going to take a minute. Why don't we take 30 seconds of silence just to analyze this position, okay? Because that's always useful. It is definitely hard to talk with my monologue going. We're going to take 30 seconds right now. Okay. If we play rook f3 and the king moves, the squares that I need to guard for this king are d5 and then anything that sort of moves and will get in the way. Oh, I have to make my check and guard d5. Is there any way to do that in a singular move? That is what I'm kind of struggling with per se, because I want to move this knight, give check with the bishop, but this knight obviously can't guard d5 in one move, so I really don't think it could be rook f3. I feel like it's definitely going to be a checkmate with that knight on d6. I think the knight is going to be the piece that delivers checkmate. But getting to that point is, most definitely where I believe the difficulty lies. What if we played a move like bishop to e4? Okay? And the thinking behind bishop to e4 is all these squares are guarded except for, these two. But the knight will open up and take those squares. If this knight moves, right, let's say any move with this knight, I believe that's checkmate, right? Knight takes c4 will be checkmate. The same can be said for any of these other squares that this knight can go to, right? I'm just testing out squares. Oh, oops, knight h6. Let's test our checkmate. Knight takes c4, still checkmate, right? If the pawn moves, knight takes c4 is still going to be a checkmate. We are with bishop e4 right now. Alright, so now the question obviously lays, well, if this bishop moves, knight takes c4 will remain checkmate. So the question is, where can this knight go? If this knight takes, see, this is kind of a devastating move. If knight takes d6, this is check, and I can't get out of the check in a magical way, except rook blocking is check, or rook takes is check, but then this square is still undefended. Wow, quite annoying, quite annoying. Those look like the only ways to get a check. So knight takes d6. Looks like it stops that bishop to e4 move. Alright guys, I'm going to come out with the truth right now because I feel like I owe it to you guys. What happened was, obviously you see my video has cut out because what happened is as you just saw, right? I know it seems like no time has passed, but I promise for me some time has passed. I saw knight d6, I considered rook d3, I said, oh man, nothing to do here. Let's go back. Just a complete, I blanked, guys. I missed something crazy. So what did I do? I went on a whole tangent looking at knight f8. I looked at just doing nothing, trying to make a waiting move. I looked at a bunch of moves, and I realized, okay, I just can't. You know what? This puzzle is out of my league. And maybe this puzzle was out of my league, but you know, I'm okay admitting that because chess is about learning from your mistakes. So what did I do? I looked up the answer, and I found, to my great disappointment, the answer is bishop to e4. And I'm like, wow. I was so close. What could I have possibly missed? So after knight takes d6, I want you all to take a second or two, see if you can find what I still think is a tricky checkmate. I think I could have found it if I was looking just a little bit longer. See if you can find this tricky checkmate in one right here. Because knight takes d6 is the only other way they can get out of this. So if you find the checkmate here, the position is over. We've solved the puzzle with bishop e4. Pause your videos. Alright, I hope you're back from the pause. The answer is wild. Bishop d3, getting out of the way of this check and delivering check with the rook on a4. I had absolutely no idea this rook on a4 was going to deliver checkmate. So why did I, why did I come back and why did I cut the rest of the video and say, here's what's happened. Here's, I messed up. For a number of reasons, I feel like. The first reason is, like I said, we make mistakes, right? And even coaches make mistakes, right? I missed this bishop e4 move, knight takes d6, I missed bishop d3. So that goes right into my second lesson, which is you cannot always just give up on your variations as quickly, right? I should have taken that extra time, stayed in that position and figured it out, right? Grinded through just a little bit more because I really do believe I would have found this bishop d3 checkmate. And why am I going to post this video? Because I do want to post this video. I think it's still pretty cool. Why am I posting this video? I'm posting this video because the thought process that I'm going through is still a thought process that we should be thinking about throughout our games, right? Obviously, this is a position that's not going to happen, but thinking about squares around the king, thinking about candidate moves, right? Candidate moves meaning different options that we can play, looking through different options, maybe exploring my forcing moves first. Remember, I started with rook f3, I started with some like rook e5 maybe. I think the rest of the video I explored rook e6, but we came down to bishop e4, which is super tricky, but it is all about taking squares, having a pin, a discovered attack, and then even after the discovered attack, you have the discovered attack. So I still think it's a super cool puzzle to show off. So I am indeed going to post this video. This went very long, so I'm not going to do the next puzzle. If I do, it'll be in a separate video. So check that out if you want to see me, possibly fail another puzzle again. But what is the point? Besides, we should be thinking about spatial awareness and we should be thinking about taking our opponent's squares and calculating different piece movements and combinations. The other lesson is, first of all, it's completely okay to make mistakes as long as you are learning from the mistakes, which I'm doing right now, helping you guys do it as well. Let us, stick with some of our variations a little bit longer, okay? So bishop e4 is a super cool move here, right? It forces, black's only trying chance is this knight takes d6, and then bishop d3 is a super neat checkmate, right? So who would know that the checkmate is a super silent move like bishop e4, okay? So I hope you got a little joy out of seeing the answer to the puzzle, maybe a little joy out of seeing Coach Malcolm struggle a little bit, but that is how chess works. It is a difficult game, but yeah, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!